Hi, my name is Samuel. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the eighth episode. I'm joined by Sara Terán. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Sara Terán. I'm a third year in Berkeley studying global studies and conservation and research studies. And I'm very excited to have this podcast interview today.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. So my first question to you is, what are you involved outside of academics?
Yeah, outside of academics, I'm one of the ASUC Senators for the student government here at Berkeley. I'm part of the Model United Nations Club. I'm one of the chairs. I direct a bilingual committee. And I also like to do some things for fun, so I've been involved in some plays, which is like kind of what I've always tried to experiment outside of what I do for my major. So I'm having a good time.
Awesome. And so, talking about the ASUC a little bit, what does it look like to be an ASUC senator and running for that position?
Yeah, I think the ASUC offers a lot of opportunity to do impactful work and very powerful work, not only for the students but also for the community. We get a lot of attention from the state as well, so I think we have a lot of leverage when it comes to doing work that will impact students like all over. And so I really wanted to be part of it because the communities I wanted to represent were very vulnerable. Specifically, I'm QT endorsed senator, and I'm also representing the documented immigrant community, and they're both very targeted at the moment. And so I thought that it was like a moment, like a call to like step in and like advocate for my community. And so it has brought a lot of challenges, but I think so far I've been able to bring my community together, advocate for them, and give them a voice, which was like I think what mattered the most.
Awesome. And so, what are some current projects that you're working on through the ASUC?
Yeah, at the moment I've been doing a lot of cross solidarity work. So if, as you might know, a lot of the senators represent a community or are endorsed by a community. So I've been trying to work with them to see how certain aspects of our stories and our identity and overlap and intersect, and trying to advocate and like highlight that collective liberation. So we've been doing a lot of community work where we like kind of have a space together, we like tell our stories, we learn about each other, and then we have like a second step after where we like fundraise for some sort of like legal clinic or a foundation that supports these communities. And I think so far it's been very successful.
Awesome. And so, coming into Berkeley, did you know about the ASUC, and did you know that's something that you wanted to join?
Yeah, actually, I joined. Very funny. The story is that in TikTok there was like the presidential election happening, and there was this candidate that was running and was like making TikToks very angry at the other one, and just it was very dramatic. And so I always knew that Berkeley was very politically active, and that was something that really attracted me. But when I saw this, I was like, wow, the ASUC looks like something really fun. There's so much drama happening. But also there was a lot of like, I could see that it was very, like a very powerful outlet for students to speak up. And so I was like, maybe I should go to Berkeley and I will look into the ASUC and see if I can become a senator one day. And so I started as an associate, and then I became a director and a deputy. And so I built my way through just like becoming a senator this year. So it's been a very rewarding like path.
Wow, amazing. And so, kind of switching gears a little bit. You said that you were part of the Model UN.
Yes.
Could you talk about what that looks like?
Yeah, the Model UN, we actually don't debate ourselves. We host a conference on the spring that welcomes over almost 2,000 students from all over the world. We have people from like Taiwan, Italy. We have people from Mexico, Argentina, like all over, including obviously Californians and like in the U.S. And the purpose of it is to educate students about public speaking, diplomatic processes, the UN as a body, and also giving the opportunity to students who are low income to attend these type of conferences that are usually very expensive for a very low cost or almost free. So all the money that we make through the conference and some other workshops during the fall semester, we use it to bring students from the Bay Area mostly for free in helping them to develop these skills and learn how to do Model UN. And so each one of us, as a chair, we create a synopsis guide, which is about like 40 pages usually, with 2 topics that interest us depending on the committee that we're part of. And I think it's a very good opportunity to like educate students and like share with them like your experience and like, I don't know, just motivating them to go to college, like do something for good, like, and I think it's been very rewarding to like see kids, and some of them like join Berkeley, join the club like 2 years after you see them for the first time. And I think it's a good opportunity to also develop this like international relation skills and knowledge.
So you might have said it before, but so this program is catered toward high schoolers?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. And so you also mentioned that you were part of the Student Task Force for Human Rights Watch. What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a really cool project. So for anyone that is interested in working for like Human Rights Watch or any like international work, the Student Task Force is dedicated to students to join the Human Rights Watch and advocate for a certain topic that you feel like it's, of like your interest. So I was working in renewable energy. They have a project that focuses on climate change and moving from fossil fuels to renewable energy. So I was part of that. I was one of the directors for the Southern California region when I was in high school. And then I became an alumni and continues to be part of this group in college. So I'm in contact with them. I go to conferences. It's been really good for networking and learning about how, advocacy at an international level works when it comes to like nonprofits. So I've been able to connect with some of the managers and some of the directors of Human Task Force, and we go to movie premieres and like fundraising events, and we learn about how to advocate for these things that matter the most at a local level. And I've learned, policy debriefs. I've been able to submit a bill to Gavin Newsom in collaboration with other orgs. So it's been a really like powerful and like educational program that I've been part of, which I recommend people to check out.
Awesome. And kind of diving a little deeper, what's a recent example of like the policy work that you did through the Student Task Force for Human Rights Watch?
Yeah, the most recent one was advocating for a carbon tax. These was written obviously by a lot of people in Human Rights Watch, but as part of the program, we were able to oversee this call for action in this resolution, and we were able to kind of have an input, which was really, really nice. And actually something that I did for that was that I translated this resolution and this kind of like preamble that we wrote to educate people and canvas and kind of just organize in demand for this. And so it was really cool because I was able to use like the skills that I have in my first language, which is Spanish, and it's like a language that's like very like spoken here in California specifically. So I was able to translate that, and people were informed, and I was able to like fund bank in Spanish as well for some Californians to come out and like demand Gavin Newsom to sign this bill. So it was very transforming. It was like the first time I was introduced to translating as like more of a job. And it was successful. It went through like the House, and then it went to Gavin Newsom's desk. It was signed like very later, like a year later after we organized for the first time. But I think the work we did was powerful in the sense that even if the bill didn't pass, I think it educated a lot of people, and it like brought awareness about this. So I think that was like really, really cool.
Awesome. Wow. And so what does it feel like having your policy and something that you worked on like come to fruition?
I think it's great. It's awesome. It feels like you're doing something important. It's also, I think it's like, especially if it's something that it's really important for the community as a whole, you can see that when time passes by and you see this get into action and it's actually established, a lot of things start to change and you hear news about it and like how things have changed after or how things haven't changed. And so it gives you a good perspective of, oh, is policy really impactful? Is it really worth doing this? Was it really advantageous for people, or is there more work to do? And so it motivates you not only to see that, you know, this passed and it was successful, but also it gives you more reasons to keep going.
And so it seems like everything that you're involved in ties around policy work and working in government. And so what like drives your passion?
I think just like from a very young age, I knew that I wanted to do this type of work. I remember like being very little, maybe like 10, and like telling my parents I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, or like I'm gonna go into the government. Like I was like super into like the ethics class in like middle school, and I think it was just like I've always wanted to advocate for my community and advocate for people who, you know, might not necessarily had given a seat on the table or couldn't like advocate for whatever reason at the moment, and like give that space for them to advocate and like give them a voice. I think I grew up in a very like marginalized community, and like obviously like I'm queer, I'm like a person of color, I'm an immigrant, so I think there's like a lot of layers to my identity that have like pushed me to have to advocate for not only myself, for people also that are in a similar situation to mine. And so I've always been very inspired by those that have advocated for me and like people like my community in the past. And so I really want to do some work that relates to that and can be very rewarding, even if it's not, you know, maybe doesn't pay off as much, and or you know, it's not as like people don't see it as important. I think advocating and like organizing is really impactful. And from a very young age, I knew that I wanted to do this.
Amazing. Diving a little deeper into your college applications and that that season of your life, because I know like a lot of high schoolers are watching and are curious about like what you put so that you could get into like Berkeley. And so, what are some experiences that you had had under your belt coming into college?
Some experience I had. I actually didn't have a lot of knowledge about how to apply for college. My parents never went to like college, and it was I was new to California. I had just moved to California like 3 years prior to when I applied. So what helped me as someone who wasn't really knowledgeable about this was asking for help. I think that is a tool and a skill that a lot of us are not necessarily taught, and like sometimes we're just like shut down for asking for help. And so I think knowing who to come like to ask for help and like someone to help you to apply and like to learn from them, like come up to your professors, to your counselor. There's a lot of organizations that help with this. There's a lot of college programs that help students to apply for college. So try to always be willing to be helped out and always like ask when you need help. And I think that's one of the most important things. And also, I think I kind of involved myself in a lot of things in high school, and not all of them were necessarily for like my major or my career or like college oriented. A lot of that was just because I was very passionate about them, and I really loved to do that work. And I think that's something that I feel like colleges look for a lot: your commitment, your passion, your motivation for things. And so try to show that. I feel like I just went through this like rumble of me saying what I'm passionate about and why I wanted to come to Berkeley. And so just show that, I would say. Be yourself. And I think I've never been so much afraid of like saying who I am, and so you shouldn't be either. And I think that's always gonna stand out.
And diving a little deeper, what were those things in high school that you were passionate about?
Yeah, I was very passionate about like languages and like international relation oriented things. Like I did do things related to policy, as you might know, a lot of oriented to like working in the field and like politics and all that things. But I like created my own club, and I was like part of a club that was like just for languages, and I had a lot of friends, and like we kind of goofed around a little, but it was like a good time for us to connect and like be in community. And even though I feel like it was never something that I really talked about like extensively in my college application, it showed that I had a, I don't know, it showed that I was more than just like someone who was like really applied to school, but I also looked to like have like new experiences and connect with my community and my friends and like do things for fun, and show that I was passionate about something, so like passionate about it that I would be willing to put a lot of work into that. And I did, and I think I mean, I'm here, so I think it worked out.
Awesome. And so coming into college, not really knowing like how the process is, or not being established too much, how did you find community?
I think this one can be really hard. I know there can be a lot of circumstances that might kind of put a barrier for you to find community, like not living in the dorms maybe. I know that if you're like transfer or non-traditional student, could be really hard, but how I found my community was connecting with people that were, I guess, like-minded, and going to affinity spaces. I think Berkeley is really good at this. I don't know how it is in other colleges, but I know there's always a place where your community meets. There's always a club. There's always like a space. And if there's none, I would encourage you to create one. And I think that's the best way to find community. Just like make that effort to like go out of your comfort zone and go out and like try to meet people and like connect with others, like hang out with them. Like if it's at the dorm, even if you don't want to go play cards with them at like 10 p.m., like try to make that effort. And I'm sure that that's gonna, it's gonna be at the end a good thing, and you might be able to find community there. But just like don't stop trying, because your community is out there. And I think you just have to be able to see it. And it took me a while, but I was able to find it, and I'm really happy now.
Awesome. And so kind of changing gears a little bit, I want to kind of dive a little more into the play that you said that you were involved in.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear more.
Yeah. This is something that I did kind of out of nowhere. I've never been interested in theater, if I'm very, very honest with you. I had no idea how anything worked. But I had a friend who was involved in theater. And I was like, I'm so into the ASUC and like Modern United Nations, and I'm like doing policy work and like doing all these things, and like I'm so deep into my major. I was like, I want to do something new. I want to have a new experience. I want to take advantage of my college experience to go do those like random like side quests and like be more adventurous and like learn more things, because I feel like once you leave college you don't have that chance to just like do a random play one day. And so my friend was like, I'm producing this play, like you should apply, blah blah. It was like all a joke, and I was like, oh wait, like I'll apply. And I applied to be part of the production team. So I was the assistant manager for set. And it was really, really fun. I wasn't expecting to have so much fun. It was like great. I found a community that I didn't know was like at all like something that I would find in theater. And I had a blast. I like built all the set for the play, and like I was there like sometimes very late at night, and I had a lot of things to like manage at the same time. I was campaigning for the SUC as well. But I think it also helped me to distract myself a little. I think it was like such a heavy period of time. And it was like a rough time for, you know, like my academics and like me trying to be a senator, that being able to do something just for fun and like something that was just like, it was new to me and I was learning. It was so like wonderful that I would not regret it, and I would like recommend people to try something new that you might be like, oh no, like this is so random, like just join, just like try it, and I'm sure that you'll have a blast.
Awesome. And I'm sure that there's some skills that translate with like the theater production and all that, like being
Yeah.
able to communicate in a team and sort of being like advocating for yourself, putting yourself out there. And so, do you think in the future there are going to be any more plays that you're going to be a part of?
Maybe I'm hoping. Maybe I'm thinking I'll do some different side quest. I think I wanna. I don't know. Maybe I'll join the triathlon team. Maybe I'll do something else. I'm always looking for a new adventure, and I think this first step that I took by joining the theater company, the skill that I learned, I feel like it was like the most useful, was just being able to not be afraid of trying something new. And I think that could apply in many things in your life, even if it's just doing something different in your career or taking a like leap of faith for a job interview. I think that's how it felt for me, like doing something that I was not necessarily prepared for. But I knew that I wanted to do it, and I worked really hard to get it. And I think sometimes you're not going to be prepared for things in life, but you're going to have to take that step. So how do you manage that? How do you go into something that you're not like familiar with, and get the best out of it? I think that's like one of the things that I learned, that I think it was like the most like impactful.
Amazing. And kind of, you touched upon campaigning during this time. So,
Yeah.
how was it like campaigning for the ASUC?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was really, really rough. I'm not even gonna lie. There was about like, I think like over 50 people, almost 60 people who were campaigning, and only 19 get it, only 20 get it. And so we had like less than half chance of like getting this spot. And I think about like 16,000 people voted in that election. It was like a very like record like voting. It's been very low in the past. So one of the things that like made it really difficult was I was obviously in school. I had a part-time job, and I had to juggle that on top of like campaigning, which takes like hours a day. Like it's just hours you have to be on lower sprout, like upper sprout, just campaigning and like directing a team of like 20-30 people who are like campaigning for you and like abiding to all these rules. And so it's very, very stressful. But I learned a lot about how to like mobilize people, how to like sell myself, how to sell my image. I think it's really important, not only for like campaigning or anything in politics, but anything you want to do, like you need to know how to do that. You need to know how to like be confident about who you are and your persona, and like build this all around it. And that's what I learned. I really learned how to connect with others, how to like convince them of like my message, and like spread that message around. And I feel like it's very difficult, but I would recommend for everyone to kind of like try something that relates to this, or like try to do something similar, even if it's not campaigning. But I think in every aspect of your life is going to be really useful to know how to deliver a message successfully, how to speak to others, how to network, how to convince others to like join your fight, how to sell yourself and like your image. All of these skills apply to any career, any job. And those skills I gained from it, and I'm like a little more confident in what I do now
Awesome.
because of it.
And so, how do you go about convincing people to be a part of your campaign team?
Yeah, this was, I think, one of the like parts of the campaign that like took the most amount of work. I think one of the things was that people really saw that I was being true to the cause, true to myself, true to, you know, what was motivating me, and being very like confident and transparent and like inspiring will always get people on your side. But if you're not honest about it, if you're not honest to yourself, honest to the people around you, like this is not gonna work out. So I think what I did was telling them very honestly why I was doing this, why I wanted to do it, what was motivating me. And then I think one of the other things was that because this is volunteering work, right? You always have to tell them that they're gaining something from it, because you're not going to do something for free. And I think being able to word it in a way that they feel like it's useful not only for you but for them as well, and it's like rewarding for both of you, was one of the things that I really had to work on, because it's very difficult to get like just like make someone to do something for you, specifically if like they're your age. Like there's like, you know, it's not like you're just gonna be telling them and you're gonna be their boss like for free. So you really have to build that connection, and being able to like make them part of the process, and always being very transparent to them, so they can be on your team and like be involved and like be happy about what they're doing. It's like just like if you were managing like a whole like team, and or like, I don't know, a club, a firm, like anything. Like I feel like you need to be very careful with the people who are working with you, and like always take care of them, and that was what really helped me.
Awesome. As my last question to you, what would you tell a younger version of yourself if they were watching this?
I've actually just found a note from younger me like a couple days ago, and I know something that I will tell her is that just keep going, like keep believing, don't give up, and things do get better. I think when you're younger, sometimes you're experiencing so many things, it just feels like maybe things won't work out your way, and like you have a lot of passion, a lot of dreams, a lot of hopes, and I know that your path might change, but that doesn't mean that that's negative. That doesn't always mean that it's bad. If your path changes, go with the flow, like believe in the path that's chosen for you, and try your hardest, like work hard, like keep working hard, and never stop believing. Again, I feel like my dreams have changed a little, and like my path has changed a little, but I'm really happy on how it happened, and I'm really happy doing what I'm doing now. And so accept, like embrace that change, and keep going. That's what I would say to my younger self.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
And see you guys in the next one.